All right, that was. I'm waking up to after a decent night's sleep. I mean, just a normal, decent night's sleep. Got to bed by 8 o'clock. I'm up at 3. That's the 3:44. I think I checked the clock this morning. That's a decent night's sleep. It is not my. It's not my way, and it's not my intention, and it's not my job. It's not who I am to admonish anybody on any point concerning anything. I mean, if it doesn't happen within this threshold, if it doesn't happen within this apartment, my dear friends, I could really give a flying fuck. Ultimately. And that's always been the problem with me and my Lord. If it doesn't happen inside my tent, I can give a fuck what happens on my property. I could have 1,000 acres. I could give a flying fuck what happens on those 1,000 acres. I may be legally responsible for those 1,000 acres, but I can't stop the birds from coming in. I can't stop the wolves from coming in. I can't stop the bears from coming in. I can't stop the fish from running upstream or downstream. It's not my motherfucking problem. And I think by showing that I might give a fuck or could be concerned about somebody else's behavior, relationships, or necessity to draw closer to their God or from their God. It's none of my fucking business. Now, all the tactics and techniques that have been used against me, very effective. Very, very effective against those who actually give a fuck. People who want to influence others. People who want to care about what happens outside of their apartment. If it doesn't happen on these tiles, it is none of my business, and I really, really don't care. I don't. Now, we run into the mentality and we run into the lessons where others may think that I think like they think. And of course, whether it's a matter of guilt or innocence, I also like to think that others think like I think. And when I find that they don't, it's no great disappointment. Because rule number one, there are going to be varying temperatures. Or concept, there is going to be temperature. Rule number 0, there is going to be temperature and those are going to vary. Rule number 1, humanity. One is going to feel differently about one's self. Therefore, extend that out just one step or one phase. Others are going to feel differently about themselves. And I certainly don't want to affect how somebody else feels about themselves. Maybe they need to enter a depression. I don't want to stop that. Because then, if you get into a depression, you internalize and you don't aggression. Or maybe somebody's feeling their oats and they want to be aggressive. I don't want to stop that either, because Maybe they're just slightly punching through the depression, and like a metallurgist, they're bending it a little too far just for it to snap back to right where it needs to be. I'm guilty of thinking that others think like I think. The what to think and the what to feel, we'll make a special note of that. What to think and what to feel. What was Bellarmino's position on what to think and what to feel? What is my position on what to think and what to feel? And how does God present what we should think and how we should feel? Let me start my day and get rolling a little bit, and that will be a point of study. Now, for purposes of Diana Michelle University, let me explain to you how Diana Michelle University works. You walk into a lecture hall. Now, the lecture hall may very well be the size of the galaxy itself, if communication allows. And by the way, the main goal of Diana Michelle University is to travel to every star in this galaxy, gather information, and then relate that information to other beings that can appreciate the universe as the universe has allowed one to appreciate itself. Because I'm having to think that the universe is a living entity, just as Earth, herself, stand alone with or without animal life, is alive and a living entity. So we gather up art from these different stars and we bank it and call that art from the Milky Way. So how do we feel and how do we think? And how does our thinking affect how we feel? And how do our feelings affect what we think? Now, we're going to need a Newtonian overlay for how we feel and how we think. And we're going to need the Mosesian overlay for what we think and how we feel. And it's very, very important that the Mosesian overlay be applied. Because before we ever had a Newtonian overlay, we had some clues concerning some of the greatest construction projects on the planet. And those we got from the Bible, from the Mosesian overlay. And that lends itself to intelligence as well as lending itself to intellect. Now, intellect is the ability to process the intelligences or the intelligence that are gained. Intelligence is just a packet of information. What kind of intel do you have on that particular situation? Well, the intelligence on that is the packet of information given for that situation that we're taking a look at is going to require some intellect. Now, to develop that intellect, you're going to need the Newtonian overlay and you're going to need the Mosesian overlay to develop the intellect, to process the package of information that is intelligence. So, how do we feel? And what do we think? And how do our feelings affect our thinking? And how does what we think affect how we feel? We'll go on about that a little bit later. But now, you walk into the lecture class, I'm going to be sitting behind the desk doing the thing that I got to do. Come on in, Mac on the back row, or sit up front, and you know that you're really trying to distract me now, aren't you, honey? Every educator's had to deal with a little bit of both. But as I understand, as I'm getting older and wanting to dissipate some of the intelligences that I have gained, again, to stay alive. That seems to be the key here in America. You got to dissipate some of that. You got to give up some information to stay alive sometimes at certain levels of the game. I keep up giving up information and intelligences. I just hope you guys have the intellect to handle it. But no, you walk into the lecture hall, I'm going to say and do the thing I got to say and do. You gather up the information if you want, or you disregard some of the information you want. Again, we're going to be operating on everybody hears what they want to hear. Well, in lecture hall, you will hear what I want you to hear. Whether you listen specifically or not, that's entirely up to you, and you will be graded. Again, the conditioning of my soul and the training required for me to perhaps take it to another level, this is the training for it. My understanding that some people are going to get it if they choose, and some people are not going to get it if they choose. So again, back to the zeroth law. People are going to feel different. There are going to be different feelings. So about the information presented, some people are going to love it and enjoy it. Other people are not going to love it and enjoy it. You'll have people running down to the front row. Hey, I want to get a part of whatever's going on over there with that teacher, instructor, and or professor. In any event, welcome to Diana Michelle University. The campus covers, for now, just the Milky Way. And all those other beings who have the ability to pick up Earth, sit your ass down and welcome to class. We fucking been through it, man. I mean, this world knows well its very own history when once finger pointing got started. And that we consider the creation of man, the creation of all of us. Have a wonderful, whatever time it is in your time zone. Okay, the term art, is that standing up for an acronym or something? Yeah, Armin Ra Tabjork, Krabet War Nemra. We are men, Nemra. What the fuck makes you think we're benign, motherfuckers? What the fuck makes you think Earth's benign? If there's anything out there and it looks like Earth, bitch, we're here to kill! Letters home from the battlefield, Priscilla Mom. This is your son, Armin Mark Logo. So that, I'm perfectly identified. Remember that Jesus you told me to lean on and look to? He ain't let me down for a fucking nanosecond, man. He does not disappoint. Woo!